This conference will now be recorded.
All right, everything I said was muted.
Yeah.
I'm all like, how are y'all this morning? Okay, I guess they're good.
Aw.
Okay. Poor Garrett. He's feeling all left out.
It's okay. They're lined up. All right.
I was thinking that Garrett coming through with the fresh cut.
Yeah,
What
it's
did I do?
five gum.
I couldn't understand a word y'all just said.
We were saying that your hairline, like, it's very cleaned up. Like, you got, like...
It's terrible. They got so close with it. Like, yeah. So I was using a new guy and he was like, hey, do you just want to fade it up top or just go straight up? I'm like, nah, just go straight up. That's what they usually do. And then I didn't know how close he was going to get. So the good thing is my hair grows fast. So like, it's going to be as long as Kirsten's hair next week. Like my hair grows really fast. So thank goodness.
Nice.
I don't know if nice is the word I'd use, but
My husband's hair is like the same way. He gets a haircut like pretty much almost like every Sunday because his hair grows so fast.
yeah, and that's why I get it so short, because it's like if I don't, I mean, I'll be right back in there.
You should like have like the luscious locks, you know, so you can
just own it.
Ponytail and have the man bun like Matt.
No, if my hair gets down to my ears, it starts annoying me. Like I couldn't do it.
You should grow a rat tail.
Oh.
Right, turn full devil mode.
I may be. I may.
I want to see Garrett with a mullet. Garrett Smith, mullet, banjo.
Are you with us, Mr. Doctor? It's not recognizing my mic. Uh-oh. You can call in and be at the video at the same time. Let me give you the number.
I had like this kind of problem yesterday during tutoring. I had to have the client like call me, and she kept like being thrown out of the session. So I was like, I mean,
where is the phone number for it? Let's see. We have so many links to this thing. I'm trying to figure out which one are the right ones.
she might have to go to our Facebook, or just use the link on her phone from email.
Oh, she just got off a meeting. Huh.
You can also go to the GoToMeeting hub and look at your scheduled meetings and get the invitation with all of the details for the call.
Kathleen, do you want to log out and log back in? Maybe that helps. You did, okay. Okay. Let's see here.
Amanda, why did you join twice?
I was gonna see if
Pull a Kershawn.
I was gonna see if I could see the phone number.
She's gonna pull a Kershawn and get multiple angles.
Yeah.
Trying to get the phone number. Let's see here.
Angie, your hair looks good.
How are y'all?
Good.
Good.
I haven't seen you in that room before, Angie. Is that your office area?
This is my guest room / homemade office due to COVID. I actually had no intention of ever working from home when we moved here, so we sold our desk, and now I'm on a fold-out card table.
Amanda.
Yeah.
My bad.
Amanda had joined twice.
Are y'all recording right now?
Yes. Oh.
All I see.
Say your piece.
There's the access code, Kathleen. There's a phone number.
Did everyone get rain this morning? A nice
Yes, ma'am.
thunderstorm? I loved it.
My dogs did not like the thunder in the middle of the night. Like literally, my dog Leo like jumped up and like Leo sleeps in between mine and my husband's pillows. So he like is like right in the middle and thunder like hits and all of a sudden I feel like his paws like hit my face and he's like freaking out. So that was like at 3 o'clock this morning. I don't even know where to go.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Our faces.
Oh.
Your face.
What face was I making? Like this?
This is his bow tie. It has little cows on it. We call him Mr.
Aw.
Little Bow Tie Man.
I like tat.
Carla,
I like
can you hear me
cows.
now?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you. Welcome. Hello.
Thank you.
Hi.
Oh. Are you ready, Miss Hannah?
Yes. Okay. So, introductions. Welcome to Virtual Coffee with the Blue Coats. It is June 23rd. Today, as our guest, we have financial aid. Would you like to introduce your department?
Sure. My name is Kathleen McDonald. I'm the coordinator for student financial assistance here at Texas A&M University, Central Texas. We help students with scholarships, loans, federal aid, and private scholarships.
Awesome, awesome. Amanda, did you have that one question for the special thing?
Yes. I actually have 2 questions. One, is I'm trying to think which is the best order to ask questions. Anyways, the emergency COVID grant, is that still available for students to apply for summer or for fall?
It's not available for fall, but for summer, yes, you can still apply.
Cool.
And how do
We
you
are.
apply?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to add that we are not sure if we will have it available for fall. I think it depends on if there's money left over. And how do you apply for it? You can go to the student aid page on the TAMUCT website. And once you get onto the financial aid page, at the very top, it says emergency funds. If you click on the link, it's one application. So with that one application, that will put you in the mix for both grants, which you do not have to pay back, or for very low interest rate loans. And just because you fill out an application does not mean that you'll be granted grants or loans or any aid at all. But I strongly suggest that all students go ahead and fill it out, because you never know unless you go ahead and fill it out. One suggestion I make is that you put in as much information as you possibly can. So you're going to have to notate how that the COVID-19 has affected you negatively, and then how it's affected and why you're requesting the money. So say your hours were cut because of COVID-19 and you're having trouble paying your full rent, that you need an extra $400 to pay your rent for the month, then you would definitely documentate all that information.
Okay, nice.
I just went on the financial aid part of our website, and I don't see it. Is it on like our Warrior web?
No, it should be on, let me get there, because it is on,
Oh, I think I see it.
it should
The
be,
announcement
unless
part?
they changed it, it should be at the top of the page.
Kristen, I'm gonna make you a presenter so you can show us.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a lot of tabs open. Please don't judge me. Like y'all did last time. All right, can y'all see it? Oh.
Yeah, so if you type in financial aid, it's at the very top of the page. It says, announcement, the Office of Student Financial Assistance is accepting applications for student emergency aid. Please visit our emergency aid page to learn more about the programs and how to apply.
Yeah, so it's just this right
Oh,
here.
yeah, that's it.
Emergency aid. And then the programs. Or would it be the programs or the application?
Well, I mean, what you would
The
do
books.
is there are a number of links there, but where it says emergency aid program, emergency aid application, the program, it just lists the different programs that are available, because there are loans and there are grants. And then the application, it's just the one general application. You don't have to fill out a separate application for grants and one for loans. It's just one that you'll be considered for everything.
Okay, so it's probably easier to do like the general application to be applied, right?
Yeah, It is just one application. Even though there are a couple of links there, it's just one application.
Awesome.
And speaking of applying for grants and stuff like that, I don't know if it includes like emergency aid or anything like that, but there's this app slash website called MOS, like Moss. And you fill out like one application and it applies you to like almost every available like federal student aid fund thing. It's actually really cool. I've recommended it to a lot of my friends before.
Miss Kathleen, if you, I actually had a student when we were making phone calls, and they said, you know, I think I messed it up the first time when I applied. Can they apply again, or is it just like a one-time thing?
Well, if they received it, you can only apply once per term. And for the term, like it's just, we have it for the spring and for the summer. You have to have been taking classes. So if you apply for the spring, you have to have taken classes in the spring. If you're applying for the summer, you have to currently be enrolled in classes. If you receive the aid for the spring, you would need to let us know that you want to apply for the summer, and this way we can resend you or basically clear out the old application so you could fill out a new one.
Okay. And it's for graduate and undergrad, or is it just for undergrad?
No, it's for both undergrad and graduate.
Okay. Awesome, thank you.
So with going back to the emergency funding, if you get a loan, is there a set date that you have to pay that back, or is it based on when everything ends, or is it kind of I guess a little more lenient on like the payback date with the loans?
To be perfectly honest with you, I don't know what that is. They are federal loans, and they're at a 1% interest rate.
Oh, wow.
If you were approved for a loan, you would be given all that information. And
Okay.
you would be given all that information before you would accept it. So this way you knew what you were accepting. So I am not quite sure. There is a committee that does the emergency aid, and they're the ones that are fully briefed in that. So I don't know. And I personally haven't ran across a student who got a loan. Everybody I've spoken with has gotten grants. So
Excellent. So what are your tips, Miss Kathleen? I know a lot of students are really confused with, FAFSA and all that. Let's say I'm a new student coming into TAM-UCT and I want to start in the fall. How do I go about getting financial aid?
the first thing you have to do is fill out your FAFSA. And I think every student should fill it out because a lot of students say, oh, I know I don't qualify for the Pell Grant because I make too much money. But actually, the number that the government gives us when you fill out your FAFSA, it lets us know how much aid you're eligible for. So although you may not be eligible for the Pell Grant, you may be eligible for other grants like a Texas tuition grant or a university grant. But unless we have that number that it shows where you are on the economic line, we wouldn't be able to award you that kind of money. So I strongly suggest everybody fill out their FAFSA. Once you do that, then like I said, that goes to the federal government. They send us your information so we can tell you if you're eligible for grants and what kind of grants or loans. And you can't get a federal loan unless you fill out the FAFSA also. So that's why I strongly recommend that everybody go ahead and fill out the FAFSA. Once you do that, it usually takes 7 to 10 business days for the government to get the information back to us, and for us another 3 to 5 business days to process it. So if you wanted to do it, I suggest that you do it as quickly as possible. Also, you can fill out the FAFSA for the next year starting in October. And why that's very important is that there is aid that is based on a first come, first served basis. So the longer you wait to fill out your application, the less likely you would be eligible for that aid because by the time you filled it out, it's all gone. So I strongly suggest students fill out their FAFSA as quickly as possible. So for 21-22, you can fill out your FAFSA in October. And then once you fill out your application, like I said, we evaluate you, what your aid status is, and we will let you know. You'll be able to look at it on Warrior Web. You would need to go in and accept it, and then once you accept it, we do process it in time for it to be on your account before the semester starts.
Awesome, thank you.
The other thing I suggest is students fill out applications for scholarship. And the application is open currently and will be open until the 17th of July, which we will take it down and we'll start awarding those scholarships.
Okay.
Now, for students who are under the age of 25, single, and yeah, I think those are the requirements. Under the age of 25, single, that are required to go off of their parents' income. Is there a way to like go around that, or is there like a different way to like apply, or sorry, not sorry, if you're single under the age of 25, you have to go off of your parents?
I mean, that's the general rule that if you're under 25, you do need to have your parents' income information present. There is special circumstances. You can fill out that form and it could be reviewed to see if we could go past that. But that is the general rule, that you do need to go off of your parents' income taxes.
Okay.
I want to get back with the scholarships a little bit too, because I think a lot of students feel like, oh, I don't have a 4.0 average, or I am not, highly need-based, that I won't qualify for scholarships. Well, I think that's not the right way to look at it. That's another thing I think all students should go ahead and fill out their application for scholarship, because I always say it's like the lottery. If you don't buy a ticket, you'll never win it. If you don't fill out an application for scholarship, you'll never receive a scholarship. We have many different scholarships. In fact, we offer over $300,000 a year in scholarships awards. I don't think our students are aware of that. They're not, for the most part, huge scholarships. Most of them, the average is $1,000 a year, which would be $500 a semester, which would cover the cost of your books for the most part. So I think any little bit helps. I would be thrilled if I got a $500 scholarship a semester. So I would definitely go in and fill out the application. The website is academicworks.com. Or I'm sorry, let me start that over. It's TAMUCT.academicworks.com. And once you get on that website, you need to register your account if you've never done it before. To register, you would need the first part of your email address, which is the 2 letters, your 2 initials, and the 3 random numbers. You do not have to add the @myTAMUC, no, just the 2 initials and the 3 numbers. And then you would add the same password you use to get into your student email address. That will allow you into the account, and you can fill out the general application. Basically, it's the one general application that puts you in the mix for all the scholarships that we have available. So you fill out that application. By the way you answer your questions on that application, the system will connect your application to every scholarship that you qualify for. So there's no picking and choosing. I know with my history of working with scholarships, it used to be where there would be a list of scholarships and students would say, oh, I'm a nursing student, so let me look for all the nursing scholarships. Well, that's wonderful, but the thing is that these students are missing out on other scholarships that were just general scholarships and that were open to any field of study. So that's why we work it where we take it out of the students' hands at what scholarships to apply for, and we basically have them apply for every scholarship with just the one application. There are a few scholarships that require more information. If in your general application you answered the trigger question correctly, at the end of your general application, it will trigger another screen to come up and say, you're eligible for this scholarship, and can you please provide this extra information? For instance, we have the Warrior Corps Scholarship, which is one of our best scholarships. It's a two years full ride. It doesn't pay for books, but it pays for tuition and fees. So you have to be a transfer student. It has to be your very first semester. Transfer student, you have to have a GPA of 3.5 or better. You have to provide 2 letters of recommendations from teachers, faculty, or community leaders, civic leaders, and you have to complete the essay. And that will get you in the mix if you are a transfer student with a 3.5 or better and provide all that information. That will put you in the mix for the Warrior Corps Scholarship.
I wish I knew that. I'm about to graduate.
It's on our webpage.
Pain.
It is on our webpage.
So I pulled up the general application, and one of the questions says, have you signed a Warrior Corps plan with an academic advisor? If you signed it, would you know, or like what is a Warrior Corps plan?
Yeah, you would know if you signed it, and it's strongly suggested that you sign it while you're at the lower level, the junior college level. It's an agreement that basically says you plan on doing 2 years, your first 2 years of college let's just say CTC, and then you plan on transferring over to Texas A&M for your final 2 years to get
Okay.
your graduate degree. So when a student does that, I strongly suggest that they keep a copy of it, but they do need to go to the academic advisor to get that Warrior Corps agreement signed.
Kirsten, have Presley do that.
I'm
I know
sorry.
I need to. Oh, my little sister is trying to come to school down here, back where I'm from, and her biggest worry is like paying for school. So I'll definitely have to tell her about it.
Yes, definitely. And
You can
the other scholarships too, because we have a lot of amazing scholarships, and they're all based on different criteria. So getting back to it, it's not necessarily true that you have to have a 4.0 GPA in order to get a scholarship. We have some scholarships that are based on community service. So if you have a 2.5, and basically that's our limit, you must have a 2.5 or better to be considered for a scholarship. So that's not a hard, it's not like trying to maintain a 4.0. A 2.5 is very reasonable. But if you have that and you've done community service, that will put you in the mix for the community service or, scholarships or volunteerism scholarships. One thing that I see all the time is students will put that they've done volunteer work, but the volunteer work was 10, 15 years ago. Well, that's nice. And, that's wonderful that you were able to do that at that point, but we really do need to see something more recent, and that's what they're looking for. And maybe I need to change that on the application to say recent volunteerism or recent community service, because these scholarships are based on the student, like not only being a good student, but also being a good citizen of the city, of the college, of the state of Texas. So, but yes, strongly. And the other thing is the essay. We don't require that any student write an essay, and I tell students this all the time, and nobody listens to me, is that I strongly suggest you write the essay. It's not a hard essay. It's not asking you to research anything. The essay is all about the student. So you are the subject matter expert on yourself. So you should be able to put together a good, strong essay. You don't have to write it, but in all honesty, if we have 20 students that are equally qualified for a scholarship and 10 of those students didn't write an essay and we have to have some kind of tiebreaker, we do look at the essay. And in certain cases, those essays are sent to different professors on campus, blind, so the professors have no idea who wrote those essays. The professors will grade them and give me a number, and so we'll add that number to their score on their application, and the student with the highest score is the student who gets the essay. So it really is in your best interest to go ahead and write an essay. It doesn't have to be a book. In fact, we prefer that it's not a long essay. But if you could do 3 or 4 good paragraphs, that would be wonderful. And then if you are currently a student, you have the writing center at your fingertips here. And I tell students to do that, take full advantage of that. Send your essay to the writing center, have them review it, and ask them for help, how you can possibly make it better, because you do want to write a good, strong essay. But you don't have to, but then you may be missing out on money if you don't. So
I do have a question that I saw on one of the school threads on Facebook. It asks, is it possible to go back in? I know once you fill out your on the scholarship form, you know, your initial form, can you go back in and update all that information? And how do
Yes,
you do it? Because they were having issues updating it.
No, what happens is that you can go and when you initially fill out your application, you can, and this is what I suggest, you save it, but you don't submit it. You save it. So this way, and I know I'm great for doing this because when you're writing something, you're writing your essay, and that's the masterpiece. I mean, that's Moby Dick or Romeo and Juliet, and you know it's just perfect, and it's your baby, and everything is perfect about it. But then you give it a day or two, and you go back to it, and it's not as perfect as you thought it was. So that's why I always suggest you save it and then give it a day or two to go back and reread it, look over your application to make sure you didn't do it, and then you submit it. So once you submit it for that particular period, you cannot go in and update it. So save, and then you can go back, and then once you're positive that you're good with it, then you can submit it. So once you submit your application, you don't have to submit another application. Like, so now our application for fall is between June 15th and July 17th. So if a student had filled out an application, say in December for the spring semester, they don't have to start from the beginning. They can, at that point, they can pull it up, make any changes, review it, and then resubmit it. And then that will get them in the mix for the fall semester. You can actually fill out the application at any time, but just know that students have priority who filled it out between the application dates. So from June 15th to June 17th and to July 17th, all those students who filled out the application, they have priority. If out of that pool of students, we don't find enough people to fulfill the scholarships that we have left, then we will look outside of those dates. But let me tell you, that very rarely happens. So it's really important that you fill out your application or resubmit your application during those priority dates.
Did you guys have questions on federal work studies? I know you guys were talking about it.
I was gonna ask about the refunds. So are those things that we have to file on our taxes, or is it tax evasion?
I'm not sure what you mean.
If we get like refunds from our excess tuition and stuff.
That would be a business office, because we at financial aid, we award you the aid, but it's the business office that actually distributes it, and they provide the tax documentation. So when there is a document that we provide you that you have to submit with your tax forms every year. So that would be whether you would have to pay back. It would depend on what your earnings are, and I'm not the tax expert. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that too, Krishan. Whenever I did my taxes for this year, I had to submit for it's like, what's it called? It's like a 1098 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's and actually, like she was saying, it depends on like your general income, but it actually like helped me with my tax refund. Then you can find that on if you go to your Warrior web and then you click on like your statement, there's like a little tab on the left hand side, like on the bottom, and that's where you can like find all that information.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just know because Carla had to help me find it. I called her whenever I was doing my taxes, and I was like, it says I need this thing for school, but I don't know where it's at.
Yeah, you get an email on it telling you it's ready right before like tax season starts. Kathleen, for I know we've had a back and forth on the federal work study. If someone applied for federal work study, they have to come to you guys and get the letter before they take it to their employer. Can you give us a quick maybe a synopsis on how that works?
Okay, so I'll give you what I know about federal work study.
Mm-hmm.
So when you fill out your FAFSA, that tells us whether you're eligible for federal work study or not. And if you are, we'll award it on your account. If you're interested in federal work study, you would have to go into the finance tab and under the award section and accept that federal work study. So once you accept that federal work study, then you go into Handshake and you look at all the positions for federal work study that are available. We only offer work study on campus. I know there's some students that kind of thought this last semester that we were offered jobs outside of campus, but that's not the case. Federal work study for us is on campus. So you would, just like a regular job, you would apply for that job. If they chose to, they would give you an interview, and then if you were accepted, then we work through the paperwork there. So it's just like a regular job, but you have to be awarded the work study in the beginning. You can't say, oh, I want to have a work study position, but you weren't awarded the money. So
Thank you. Yeah, because I know some offices within our university only hire federal work studies. So there was some confusion at one point. So that's why I was like, let's see if we can maybe get that figured out,
Yeah. So like if you weren't awarded it in your financial aid package, then you wouldn't be eligible for federal work study.
Okay. Thank you.
This has been very informative. I think after we get off this, I'm going to fill out the scholarship application.
No, absolutely. Please do. I mean, it's, and I've been working with scholarships for about 15 years now. 3 years, a little over 3 years here at Texas A&M, and then prior to that, I worked over at Central Texas College with their scholarship program, and that was through the foundation, not through financial aid. So over the years, I saw so many students who were more than eligible for scholarships, but they just didn't bother to fill out the application. And there's always, although not so much here at A&M, but there's always one or two scholarships that don't get given away because the right person hasn't applied for them. So
yeah, I got the book scholarship last semester, or the semester before that, and it really helped. I mean, $500 goes a long way when you're having to buy a $150 book. So
right, and I'm glad you brought that up, Carla, too, because the textbook scholarship is a separate entity. It's not considered under your general application when you're filling out your application for all the other scholarships. This is basically a separate scholarship. Mm-hmm. So the way the donor had set this up, they kind of wanted it to be first come, first serve for students who qualify for this. So you do have to have a financial need, and you have to have a GPA of 2.5 or better. And it used to be where, prior to me coming to A&M, where students would stand on line that morning, and there would be a line around the block, and we only had so many to give out. But we looked at it, and I thought it was kind of unfair for students who were online students who didn't normally come to classes. That kind of left them out of the mix for this scholarship. And for other students who maybe did come to class at night but lived in Austin and worked in Austin or Round Rock or Gatesville or someplace that's not so convenient to drive up to campus at 8 o'clock in the morning. So that's why we put it online. So the application opens up at midnight because I have no control of that. But we do send out emails a couple of days before the application opens. And we tell students the application is opening, let's say, June 23rd. Please submit your application at 8 a.m. Any application submitted prior to 8 a.m. will not be considered. So as the applications are coming in, the system timestamps them. So we start at the very first one that's closest to 8 o'clock, after 8 o'clock, not prior to 8 o'clock. And then we just go down the list of the people who are qualified for them. If you're qualified and you're the first 40 or 50, however many scholarships we're giving away, you're going to get that scholarship. So it's really easy. It's just a matter of being online as soon as filling out that application as quickly as you can in the morning to be available for it. It is a $500 scholarship, no cash. You have to use that $500 you don't ever see it. We just submit it over to the bookstore. That $500 over at the Barnes & Noble's college bookstore on the campus of A&M. And it's up to $500 and only good for textbooks for the classes you'll be enrolled in for that semester. So if your textbooks come to $150 and you don't use it, that's all you'll get is $150. That other $350 is rolled back into the pot so we can give another student the opportunity to get their textbooks paid for. So you can't buy notebooks or hoodies or backpacks. It's strictly for the textbooks. But I think that's a wonderful thing. And we're trying to help as many students as we can. So, if we gave Carla $500, she only used $150, and then Savannah, had $200, and we could give her $200, and then Angie maybe had $75. So we could spread the love around,
And it's what you said about the going into the portal. I've actually applied from my phone, so it's that easy to apply for these scholarships. So yeah, I definitely encourage all of y'all to go in and do it. The moment I see that email pop up, Kathleen, I'm right there. I'm like, so.
And I mean, Carla, you can tell them it's not a difficult application. Do you feel like it's difficult?
Not at all. I am one of those that didn't write the essay though.
Yeah.
So I should go back in and update that. That's actually one of the reasons I was asking if I could update it, because I already submitted for this coming semester. So
yeah.
So do you think colleges and
universities
start adding a requirement on essays when it says talk about a hardship you overcame, asterisk, not COVID-19, because everyone's going to write about that.
Well, no, and I don't think that's not, if I can remember correctly, that is not our question. I don't think we'll ever make it mandatory, because there are some students that they're so averse to writing an essay that it scares them away from filling out the application. So not every student who doesn't write an essay, some of those students get scholarships also, because some of them, the essay is not the most important thing. Some of them it is, like the Beck Scholarship, which that one has a 2.0 GPA. But that one is really based on community service. So in that particular case, the essay is not the prominent thing. It's the community service and your service to school. That's what's the more important for that particular scholarship. So each scholarship has different criteria, but like I said, if there was, with the Beck Scholarship, if there were 10 people that equally had the same amount of experiencing volunteerism and they all had the same GPA. What we need to go to something, and the essay is I think the fairest way to go, because everybody can turn in a good essay, because we do have the writing center to help you do that. And not only that, and especially now, everybody has available to them the online tutoring center. And I don't know if you know this, but if you submit a paper to the online tutoring center, they'll have that paper back to you within 4 hours. So if you had, so if you wanted to write your little 3-paragraph essay and send it over to them, they have it back within 4 hours. So
it's funny, Miss. We have Kristen and Krishan. They're both tutors for Dr. Bowles, so that they're representing.
Well, Dr. Bowles is one of my favorites. Don't tell him that, though.
Yeah, he'll get a big head. You're a student as well, right? Within our institution?
Yes, I am.
Nice.
I'm a graduate student, yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I said that, because Dr. Bowles, I'm actually taking one of his classes this summer, so don't take him that. I don't want him to think I'm trying to kiss up.
We had him on here a couple of weeks ago, and he's a funny guy.
He is. He really is.
Character, and having him for a class, like, this man puts memes on everything.
I know. Well, you have been so informative today. Thank you so much for coming on. And I'm sorry we're having some technical difficulties, but everything you said was super valuable. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions?
Oh, you're very welcome.
Excuse me, for us?
I said you're very welcome. Does anybody else have any questions? And just know, I am available to students. So I'd rather you ask the questions than not ask the questions. And I'm happy to give my email address. It's K McDonald, which is McDonald at tamuct.edu. Please, that's the best way to get hold of me, is to email me. And usually within, if it's not the weekend, during the week, usually you'll have your answer within 24 hours. And I'd much rather help you than you not putting in your application for scholarship. Or we're talking about financial aid, right, Carla?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I add one more thing, or we at our time for closing?
You got all the time. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'd like to bring up the student academic progression, which is SAP. I don't think that students really understand what that is. It's if you are not meeting the requirements to receive federal aid. So the federal government says you have to have a 2.0 GPA or better. You have to be passing 67% of your classes. Out of 100% of the classes you've ever taken during your college lifetime, you have to have passed at least 67% of those classes, which I think is very gracious of them. That's only 2/3 of your classes. And then they would be willing to pay up to 180 credit hours if you qualify. But once you reach those 180, you're no longer eligible for financial aid, because it only takes 120 credit hours in general to get a bachelor's degree. So you're basically getting an extra 60 credit hours or 20 classes. And if you don't have your bachelor's by then, they feel like you're not being successful and they no longer want to fund you. But they do put an appeals process in, and that's what I'm here for. I help. I'm kind of like the person that walks the line between the university and the federal government, and I try to help students, give them the knowledge to submit an appeal that would be more likely to be approved than not approved. So if students have questions about SAP, please reach out to me, because I'd much rather talk to you instead of you giving up saying, oh, I don't qualify for aid, I can't go to school, and just walk away. Please come to me, because there may be a way that we can help extend your financial aid for you. And that's very, very important. Very
Yeah.
important. So,
I have been through the appeals process. It's not difficult at all because I started college when I was 12, so I changed my major a couple times.
oh, okay.
So, yeah. But yeah, it was actually very simple and very helpful. My
Yeah, and
advisors
I
were
think,
very helpful.
and there's a difference. Two things. I think students, where they get stuck, they have to. It's a 3-part appeal. So you do an academic advising questionnaire. So your academic advisor fills that out. The second part is you have to write a statement as to why you were at this point. And then the third point is to provide third-party documentation to back up your statement. I think a lot of times students get confused with their statement and what is valid and what is not valid. They kind of look at extenuating circumstances. So, for instance, work is not an extenuating circumstance because almost everybody who's a student works. So that's not unusual. But in Hannah's case, it was because she started when she was so young. So that was an extenuating circumstance. We hardly see any students like that. So that's different. And if you can't think of an extenuating circumstance, talk to me. We can go through it and see. Maybe I can recall in your memory something that did happen that would be considered an extenuating circumstance. The ones most used are death in the family, an illness with the student or a family member, or legal issues, which for the most part are divorces, but other legal issues also. And I'm more than happy to help students get through that process, and hopefully as painless as possible. I think students also get confused with SAP and academic progress, because you may be okay academically, but you're still on SAP. So you may be on suspension for your grades, but you're not on SAP, and you could be on SAP for your grades, but still not be on there for academic purposes. So it's a little confusing to students. But once again, my email address is kmcdonald@tamuct.edu, and I'll be happy to help. Thank you for letting me add that in, because that's really important. And I think a lot of students struggle with that. So
I didn't even know what SAP actually stood for until I think I was in your office one day and you were explaining to me. And I've been going to school for 10 years, I think. So yeah, you're full of information, and you're a fountain of wealth. A wealth of knowledge. So every time I go in your office, you always just bring something up so that I didn't know. So very much appreciated, and thank you for being with us.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yep. You're always invited. If you ever just want to come and chat with us, we're here at 10 o'clock every morning, or every Tuesday morning.
Okay.
Thank you so
thanks,
much,
Carla.
Kathleen.
Thanks, group.
Yes,
thanks, Blue Coats. I really appreciate all the hard work you do for the school.
Thank you.
You guys have a great day.
You too. You take care.
Bye.
Before we jump off, I want Angie and Jessica and Menza have some winners to announce, right?
Yes. So last week when we were live with you all, we announced our week 1 winner for our Career Dash. And Career Dash is CPD's summer series where we are hosting different events for our students to become career ready. And this past week we had a couple of fun things. We named our mannequin. We're doing our super strong assessments. It's not too late to jump in and complete those events. And this week and next, we are doing CPD Feud, which is sort of like Family Feud. throughout the week. We'll be posting questions about what are the top interview questions. And so you'll just answer and pick. It's very simple. It's a question. All you have to do is pick what you believe is that the number 1, number 2, number 3, and so on interview question. It's posted in the Facebook and Instagram stories. It's also on our Canvas page. So definitely everyone jump on and participate so you can get entered into the drawing for our DoorDash gift card. So last week we announced our week 1 winner, which was Alexandra Saluto. Yay! And this week we did the drawing yesterday. And so if you all wouldn't mind making me the presenter really quickly.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I gotta find you. Angie. There you go.
All right, awesome. I will share who our week 2 winner is. Our week 2 winner is Christopher Maddox. Yay. So Christopher, I reached out to you yesterday via email, but if you are watching or hear about it, please jump on your email. We need you to fill out a quick form so that we can get that DoorDash credit to you.
I thought that said Carla Perez.
Yeah, that's what I saw that. I saw that.
That's the winner for all of the people that participated in the events that were happening last week. And so Christopher actually completed this super strong self-assessment, which is still available and will be running through the entire summer semester and will always qualify you for Career Dash. And so we are still reviewing the name suggestions and the occupation suggestions, and that will give a winner bragging rights. So we'll stay tuned for that. We're compiling all those together and making a decision. But
are y'all gonna put a plate up on them once you name them on the mannequins? Is it gonna be like, you know, Joe Smith or whatever?
I think we should for
yeah,
sure.
they'll get name tags. They'll be given name tags, and then their name and occupations will be used for the example resumes in the guidebook. So that will give whomever's name suggestions bragging rights that they came up with that name and that career for them. But Christopher actually completed the super strong. So even if you're not on social media or you don't feel like answering a question or submitting something, you can go do a really quick 5-minute self-assessment, get some really cool information for yourself, and that will enter you too. So
awesome. Yep. Thank you, ladies.
And also, as always, if you set up an appointment with any CPD staff, that also enters you into the drawing. So participate in a number of different ways and get your name into the drawing.
Awesome. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all for having us. We appreciate it.
Always, always. Have a super rest of your week, guys. Take care.
Bye,
Bye.
too.
right there it is.